GTA Online has been out for many years now, and with each year, Rockstar brings out new content for the game. This means that the game has evolved over time, and the tips which would put you ahead of most players a few years ago will not be the same today. So today, to keep you updated, we're going through 20 tips for beginners in GTA Online. But before we do get into the video, if you're really looking to get ahead of your average player, then make sure that you head over to MMOGA. Over there you can find yourself discounted games, in-game items, and also in-game currencies, which does include the GTA Online shark cards. And you can get them without needing to pay a ridiculous price, either saving you a lot of money whilst still getting exactly what you want, or you could take my approach, which is doubling up so that you can get twice as much for the exact same price. Link can be found in the description down below. Now it's time to get back into the 20 tips for today. Number 1, don't focus on your level. As a beginner, you might aspire to be a high level within game, and it does make you seem like you're more experienced, but really, it doesn't matter. You can use your level to unlock more items, with that being weapons, different types of vehicles, as well as there also being content. But simply because there is so much available within GTA Online nowadays that if you just focus on other content, just carry on doing what you do have access to, eventually you will build up enough XP to unlock absolutely everything. And because this is a game which is 10 years old, just because you come up to a level 1, it doesn't actually mean that their experience is level 1 worthy. They may have just created a completely new character and ready to go through this all over again from start to finish. Your level really doesn't make too much of a difference. Number 2. Make sure you take the time to head over to the casino and go and do the lucky wheel spin. You can do this the very second that you start GTA. You'll head over to the casino and it will play a cutscene. This can last about 5 minutes, but once done, you'll then head over to the desk, spend $500. But the cool thing with this is that you can instantly be in profit by heading over to the counter and claiming 1,000 chips, which is your daily bonus. You can then head over to the wheel for your lucky spin, where you can get a chance of RP, clothing, money, mystery rewards, and also the chance of getting the podium vehicle. This really can put you ahead, especially if the podium vehicle is something such as the Oppressor Mark II. Number 3. In most cases, you want to avoid contact missions. There are so many characters within GTA Online that offer contact missions, and even though it's okay content to go through, it's not the best. They're not great for money, they're not great for RP, and overall, storyline wise, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. This isn't high quality content once we look at it. You're better off spending your time elsewhere to progress through some of the major content and previous DLCs that have been released rather than going through these types of missions. Number 4. Don't purchase too many vehicles. As a beginner, you're not going to have loads of money, but once you do start have money rolling in, it's not worth spending it on vehicles that you're probably never going to use. In most cases, you want to buy a vehicle early on just so that you can use it to rely on. If you get any extra vehicles by going through your lucky spin and getting the podium vehicle as a reward, then that's also a bonus. But really, you want to be building up as much money as possible to put that back into more content, which will give you a higher return, and then eventually you can buy into some of the best vehicles within the game. Whilst we're on the subject of vehicles, number 5. One of the best vehicles you can purchase early on is the Buzzard. The Buzzard is an outstanding attack helicopter, which comes in at a relatively cheap price at 1.25 million. And yes, that still sounds like quite a lot, but it really isn't that much for a fast air vehicle with homing missiles. This will make life a lot easier when doing any type of mission, especially if you're trying to find resources or supplies whilst going through the standard content within GTA. Number 6. Once you do have enough money, it's worth investing into the Oppressor Mark II. But don't just buy it. There are a few things that you want to do before. Firstly, you need to purchase the nightclub, and it's relatively cheap and it's worth going through because it is content that will give you access to even more content, which will give even more money. and it doesn't really matter which nightclub you purchase. You then need to buy into the Terabyte. The Terabyte, yet again, is a separate vehicle and it will give you access to more content, but more importantly, it's also the home of the Oppressor Mark II. But still, before you buy the Oppressor Mark II at this point, you just want to spend a bit of time going through client jobs which are accessible through the Terabyte. All you need to do is complete 5 and you will earn a bit of money from this. It's nothing ridiculous, but the big selling point is once you have everything aligned, the nightclub, the Terabyte, and also completing 5 client jobs, you will be able to unlock the Oppressor Mark II at its trade price, making it slightly cheaper whilst still having access to all the other content that you have just gone through. Number 7. When first starting, it's worth going through the Dax story missions. This is part of the most recent, at the time recording this video, Drug Wars DLC. New story missions were brought into the game and they cost absolutely nothing. You just need to talk to Ron in Blaine County and these missions will start. The really cool thing is that from everything you'll get about 30 to 50k depending on the difficulty that you complete these missions in. You'll then get an extra bonus after completing all 6, which are all the first dose missions, and for the 6th and final mission you'll unlock the Brigade 6x6, which will save you a decent amount of money. This is something that you would need to buy into if you were going to purchase the Acid Lab. Now you've got it for a fraction of the price and you only need to spend $750,000, which really isn't too bad for a new business. For completing these 6 missions, it ends up putting you millions of dollars ahead. Number 8. Purchase a CEO office and a motorcycle club alongside it. These are necessary purchases early on for you to unlock additional content which will give you a pretty decent return on investment. For both of these, they can act as hubs. You'll need to purchase into them and it gets you set up, but more importantly with both of them, there are laptops which will give you access to even more purchases and investments and businesses that you can buy into. For example, with your motorcycle club, there are options for you to make money from your clubhouse, but you'll also be able to buy into a cocaine lockup, a counterfeit cash factory, a forgery factory, a meth lockup, and also a weed lockup. Now, individually, they don't have the craziest returns, but once you do have enough money to buy into each and every single one of these, you can keep them as part of a continuous loop where you keep on resupplying and completing deliveries to earn hundreds of thousands of dollars every hour. It's the exact same thing with the CEO office. Number 9, be sure to keep stocked up on snacks and armor where it's available. Now, you can go to any of the local stores to actually buy into this, but also you can in certain places such as your offices, businesses, wherever you are and whatever you've bought into, normally there is someone that you can talk to or somewhere where you can go and claim snacks and armor for free. And both of these are vital to your success within GTA. It will definitely help you get out of some very tricky situations. Number 10, make sure that you've got a garage. You're going to need at least one, and with a lot of them, they do come as part of you buying into a property. But even then, in a lot of cases, this can be filled up relatively quickly even if you're not actively buying vehicles. As said, you get your spin every 24 hours with the lucky wheel spin in the casino. And even though you're not guaranteed to win every week, you will gradually, if you keep on playing, win a fair few amount of vehicles entirely for free. You need a place to store them. Number 11, make sure that you're going through the Cayo Perico heist. The Cayo Perico heist is the most advanced heist within the game. You'll need to buy into the Kasaka, and it's also worth buying into the Sparrow, which is a helicopter which can also be applied with homing missiles. Very useful if you're not buying into the Buzzard, as we mentioned earlier. But there's actually a set routine that you can go through with the Cayo Perico heist, which means it can be finished in less than an hour. And in most cases, as long as you go through the most efficient way to do this, you're going to finish with over $1 million. Now, unfortunately, there has been an update to this where there's a cooldown and you can't keep on rinse and repeating it time and time again the second that you finish, which you used to be able to do. But even with the cooldown, it's still one of the best ways to make money. Number 12, make sure that you're taking advantage of invite-only lobbies. After recent updates, invite-only lobbies have become more and more useful. You used to be able to use them, but you weren't able to make certain deliveries or play through certain content. Rockstar now sees the need for solo players just to want to play by themselves and going through content. So they've changed the invite-only lobbies to, well, be more accessible to different types of content. You can now do everything that you want to do in an invite-only session without the worry of anyone destroying your goods whilst you're doing resupply missions or even deliveries. Number 13, spend time going through treasure hunts as well as other types of dynamic events. It may seem tedious when all you're trying to do is go through the entertaining content and then you get a text pop up to tell you about a treasure location nearby, and then you just need to find the exact location. It really takes away from the game, but if you're looking at this from a reward standpoint, it's got one of the highest return on investments. The amount of time that it takes for you to go through any of these treasure hunts or any of these other activities such as the serial killer is next to no time at all. But from it, you'll be gifted money, as well as you can also be gifted more exclusive items with different types of weaponry or even clothing. When you're first starting out, you want to focus on those which are providing money because you're going to be able to build this up relatively quickly compared to if you did anything else at your current level. Number 14, be sure to deposit your money. You can see your money on the top right, and below that there will be two different values. The one in the dark green is the money in your bank, and this money is safe. Everything else is up for grabs. This can be stolen, or in just some cases you may just lose it. You want to make sure that it's stored within the bank because in a lot of cases it could just be stolen and you've lost it forever. Number 15, take advantage of these spawn locations. You can do this in the quick menu where you can change the spawn location every single time that you load into GTA Online. I personally recommend picking somewhere like the casino, which means you can log on and instantly do the lucky spin for the day. But the real cool thing about this is once you have loaded into an invite only session, if it's not where you want to be, you can quickly go into the player menu, change the location to where you do want to be, and then go into a new invite only session. Now, the next time that you spawn in, you'll spawn in that exact location, which is so much quicker than you having to drive, fly, manage to get from point A to point B. Number 16, avoid spending a lot on car customization. Ever since the Los Santos Tuners DLC in GTA, there have been a lot of car customization options. And some of these can look amazing, but early on you need to put your money into activities which are going to give you a higher return. Once you have money flowing in, that's when you can start looking at some of these bigger and better customization options and, well, the more luxurious vehicles. Number 17, purchase a high-end apartment. With a high-end apartment, you get access to multiple new heists. When I say new heists lightly, I mean they're new for you as a beginner, but not new to the game because these were the first heists to ever be added. And even though they don't pay the most, as we already mentioned earlier, the Cayo Perico is the best way to make money, and that in itself is a heist. With these ones, they're still fun to go through, especially if you're playing in a small group of friends. It also has a very low barrier to entry. You do just need to build up enough money to buy into a high-end apartment, which are relatively cheap. So they're definitely still worth going through. But with that said, at number 18, you don't want to be buying too many places. Makes sense to have one high-end apartment and then buy into the locations for the relevant businesses, but you don't want to be buying into too many garages, you don't want to be buying into too many apartments, you don't want to be buying into too much of anything. Having just one of each is enough for you to have the full experience. Number 19, avoid the Oppressor Mark 1. We spoke earlier about how you can get the Oppressor Mark II, but with it, even once you do everything that we talked about, it's still expensive. It's going to set you back a couple million. The Mark I is relatively cheaper, but it's a complete waste. Just make sure that you are building up enough money to go immediately for the Mark II once the money is available. Don't spend time going and building to the Mark I and then eventually build up later to the Mark II once you finish using it. They're not in the same league. Just completely disregard the Mark I, forget about it, and push for the Mark II. And number 20, stay up to date on the latest deals and bonuses. You will be able to hear about all of these, and if you do want to stay up to date on the latest tips, you can subscribe to this channel here. But Rockstar will also push out a weekly newswire going over the latest discounts and bonuses. As long as you're following them over there, you will be able to be up to date on everything that is new and part of the game. This can really set you up massively, especially if you go into the right activities, which are going to give you double or even triple money. But anyway guys, here are 20 GTA Online beginner tips to help you dominate within GTA Online. We mentioned it as part of this video for you to get the most of GTA, for you to enter into the Cayo Perico highs. So if you do want to find the best way for you to be making money from this as a beginner, then make sure you click the next video on screen. That video will take you step by step in how you can make millions in just less than an hour. So click that video and I'll be over there to guide you through it step by step.